train piece, and I've always wanted to do a train piece. And the key thing is it's a frozen moment of time, which is the moment when people part. And like in death, at that moment, all the memories flash by. You just do little echoes of your solos before G. You hear the words, autumn came, the air changed sharper somehow. Just pick up on the words. The solos are fantastic.
At the time of the Commonwealth Games, I visited Manchester and pulled into the new Piccadilly station and was immediately awed by the lines in the architecture. I mean, and the sheer sonic potential of the space, the sound of life and people experiencing it in that way. And I think I had the idea then that it would be a great space to bring music into. Many years later, I'm now working in Manchester at the college, and we've started in recent years to take large-scale projects into public buildings, and it was a natural extension, really.
Are we doing a whole 10 minutes now?
No, it probably be shorter than that.
Okay, so we're just off that clock.
It's a real strain in one way to put together logistically, but it's also very freeing. You can superimpose things, you can let things be wild and come together. You don't have the sort of rather ascetic cleanliness that's required in a concert hall. You can let things go and come back and disappear and return. So that's actually a kind of generosity in the space, which I like.
There are 150 performing students, and they're arranged in teams of instruments. There are 2 string orchestras right in the centre of the piece, alongside 4 operatic couples, and they're dressed in 1940s dress, and they suggest the era of brief encounter. Beyond that, we have 2 brass bands up in the gods, a team of roving piccolos with black eye masks who are prizing the couples apart over the hour-long piece. And then 3 teams of roving instruments, a group of euphoniums, a line of saxophones, and a team of clarinets. And they're designed to look and sound like trains with material that repeats in a very kind of rhythmic, motivic way. On a bank of harps, I mustn't forget the harps, 7 of them, and they're very ethereal, encouraging music. They want the couples to stay together. And the piece itself is really about those couples and their journey and how they have all met in stations, and the stations are an important part of their life, and ultimately the role of the station in their own destiny.
The challenge is to keep making layers in the music that act like a piano pedal going down, so that it resonates around the space rather than it's this horrible little noise in the distance. So that the first challenge is sound. The second is like dramatic focus, because I want people to stop and have attention. So therefore you have to find a way of like channeling them into a way of seeing and hearing, so they get caught.
So exciting, wasn't it? The sound was just so magical in this setting. It's one thing if you're listening to the music and you're hearing antiphonal brass all from everywhere, and it's a wonderful sound, but you look around the station and suddenly everybody's a character. It dramatizes the space in a way that you can't really tell in rehearsal because we're stopping and starting so much. And so you look down a platform and you might see a couple who are saying goodbye, and they could be any one of our singers.
I think we need to be mindful that this has never been tried or executed before. Even those that are slightly unsure of why we're doing it are still proud and excited to be a part of it, and that's a good feeling to have around the place.
You feel it's evolving right up until, I think, the performance tonight. So it feels very fluid, very organic, and it feels very dynamic.
Peter has a very strong track record in creating vast pieces on this scale, and so he was the natural person to turn to. I also like the way that he comes to a project with a set of ideas, but he works over a week or so with the performers to actually finally craft them. So there's opportunities for the students to define the material that's finally played, there's improvisation, and the shape and form of what actually is constructed every week is very much a collective exercise.
It makes people stop and think, this thing is glowing, this is resonating, this is a bit magical. And with the singers there, it really makes the station look like a theatre.